Hey, happy Wine Wednesday. Bam,
Happy
bam, bam.
Wine Wednesday. Mira Boucher, good evening. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing, Carl
I
Boucher?
can't complain. I can't complain at all. It's Lakeside Cellar Week. This is Osoyoos Wines. Yeah, Carl's Wine Club across the country to all of our members. Cheers. Yeah, this is really exciting. We are dealing with a double gold medal wine right during the announcement came out during the feature. So that is really cool. We're dealing with an outstanding a rosé, and like so many great wines. So I'm thrilled to go through the whole lineup. Unfortunately, Ricky was supposed to be with us. He couldn't. Last night he called us. Unfortunately, there was something came up in this schedule, but can't make it. But you know what? I think that we know enough about Lakeside Cellars lineup that we can talk for an hour about Lakeside and
Yes. And you know
give
what?
a
We were just there. They're in Osoyoos, right? We're up in Summerland, so it's a good hour drive. We went there just the other day, and it's kind of exciting. If you guys know Osoyoos at all, Lakeside is right in Osoyoos, really. And they're building a new tasting room. So for the last few years, they've been in their barrel uh, area. It's kind of cool doing tastings in there. It's like a big barrel room. But now they're going to have a dedicated tasting room right by the lake. So these guys, where they're on a historic property. It was actually the first family that ever lived in Osoyoos lived there. It was called the Hayes residence, I believe. And it's right on the lake, gorgeous farmland there. And they've got a really old vineyard by the lake there.
yeah,
So,
and like like not most, but some of the East Indian family who immigrated in the south of the Okanagan in the late 70s, early 80s. They developed that community, developed the south of the Okanagan tremendously with lots of great orchard farm and all that, and that's how Ricky's the Daliwar, did I pronounce it properly? Hopefully I
yeah,
do.
Daliwar. I think so.
Delaware. That's how they developed the south of the. Like they were part of that, and Rick, he's the second generation of his family, and he's like, you know what, guys, you had some good ideas, planting peas and pear and all that, but nah, I know how to make money. I know how we're gonna take that farm to the next level. We already have a small piece of land with cabs and Sauvignon Blanc. Let's get more grapes, and he increased the holding of vineyard, and wow, what a great job that they've
So
done.
they
Wow.
they've been growing grapes for some time, and I think they started the winery itself. I want to say 2012. Is that correct, Carl?
Yeah, something like that. 2012, but 2016 was their first vintage. 2015 was the first vintage, if I'm not mistaken. So a couple years earlier to start the winery, put some wine in barrels and all that. So yeah,
Yeah, good stuff.
yeah.
So
So
if you guys are curious and you know Osoyoos or you're looking to visit, this is a quick little clip of the new tasting room that's being built as we speak. So you can see that's why it's called Lakeside, because they're literally lakeside. You can see the lake. And then as you drive past there to get to the current tasting room, you would go through this gorgeous old vine.
love it, love it. Every time we do that, and you know what? Last year we went, many times we went to the barrel room, to their temporary tasting room, and every time we were peeking at the new tasting room in construction. Last week, we're driving out there a couple of weeks ago, and like we know, like Mira said, Tar, you know where you're going? I said, absolutely. The new tasting room must be open by then. And pulling in out, like, whoops. Nope, not just yet. You know what? They were almost open, and the shitty things happened. So they had a
As tends
flood
to
in
happen when you do something like construct things. Yeah,
uh,
it doesn't usually go smoothly when you're doing a big construction project, does it?
yeah.
What happened? They
So
had a flooding or something, right?
yeah, they had a flood. I think because there's been so much rain around here, and one of these big downpour that we got, one of the monsoon that we got. Uh, yeah, boom. I think there's a big hole in the roof, and something like leaked all in the wall, and they have
No,
to.
I think she said it wasn't. No, I don't think it had anything to do with the roof, though. Did it? Or maybe she said it had to do with the draining, the
Was
drainage
it
pipe.
anyway? So there's it's like
One of
some
it was
setback there,
blocked.
but that anyway. You know what? I'm sure that the new tasting room will be amazing. I'm sure, like
Oh
the
yeah,
where it's located, facing, and I know they're doing something on a private tasting room on the second level with full view on the lake. I know it's going to be absolutely gorgeous, but guess what?
yeah.
I love what they have right now. It feels so wine in there. Like you smell the barrel, and like it's pretty unique. I love that. Uh, but yeah, beautiful property down south in Osoyoos. I have to say, and for me, there's some very good wineries in Osoyoos. Lakeside is my favorite from Osoyoos. It's been for a while, and there's a few reasons why I like it so much. Is because the wine are not over extracted. Many wineries in Osoyoos, you drink their red, and yeah, they're proud. They're priding themselves to have a 15.5% alcohol regular red because that's the style they go about. This is the hottest place in the country. What I love about Lakeside is they manage the alcohol level pretty darn well. Like you got some big reds and some big blends, and like you rarely seen it over 14 and a half. Rarely. Like 13.5 for some for the 13.9, 14.2 for red blend. Like they manage the alcohol, so it's not too heavy. They still manage to do very bright and fresh white. So yes, it's a reflection of these beautiful Osoyoos vineyard, but not over extracted. Still the freshness that I have. Like we've done a couple tour lately where winemakers say we're proud of our 15.9 alcohol red because that's what we want to do. And it's good. Yeah. And like you taste it and you're like, holy shit. Like so, but no, I love the way that Ricky even, and it's kind of it's weird. There's something here. He's a Jason Parks uh, a student. He learned under Jason Parks. Jason Parks overseen the winemaking for a while at the beginning of Lakeside, so we know which style Jason used. These are big and heavy, but I think that Ricky's finding his own style into that Jason Parks tree, in the sense that yeah, he's definitely having this his own bright style of wine, even if it's from Osoyoos. So because like we're gonna talk plenty about the 2018 Syrah, who just won double gold this week. Well, last weekend the result came this week. But when you look at it, what 13.9, like for big red Syrah, the alcohol is very well managed. There's a freshness into these wines that why me personally absolutely get my attention. They get my attention with their Sauvignon Blanc.
You're right. And I want to talk about their rosé because that was spectacular too. But Daryl's mentioning, what the heck is this? This is not Canadian, right? What is this? So he's right. So I'm going to go get our Canadian ones.
There you go. Get to it. Get to it. Yeah, we need to get the Oculus box.
And there's a fireplace, so I don't want to warm them up. I'll just get the boxes. How about
that? Get the boxes. Yeah. Why do we represent international wines in our Canadian wine show, right? Jesus. No. You know what? These are, Daryl. In my previous life, I was wine consultant for international wine collectors, and yeah, we. I was moving more Sassicaia than anyone else in North America, and Cristal, and yeah. So we proud ourselves with these big brands back in the day, but you know what? My passion changed, and I'm yeah, no more Sassicaia, no more Cristal, no more
How's
There
that?
you go. Much better. You nailed it, Mira.
Daryl's feeling much better now. Good. More of an Ornellaia
Hey.
fan. Oh, I think we have a couple of those boxes around too somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. But we use Ornellaia for packing.
We actually used to have them in our bathroom because at some point we had a Magnum box, and it's the perfect size for like putting rolls of toilet paper in, Daryl. So just, this is Mira's DIY show. You're you have a Magnum box, you put toilet paper in it after. See, you don't have to throw it out.
Yeah. So, you know what? Because we have lots of stuff to talk about, we are leaving town. We are leaving the Okanagan on Sunday for the other side of the country. We're going to be in Ontario for 10 days. So we have lots of stuff to talk about today. Let's start with the Lakeside Cellar lineup, because obviously I already mentioned a couple of times the All Canadian Wine Championship result came out late at the end of the weekend last week, came out publicly on Tuesday, that Lakeside Cellar just got double gold for their Syrah. And but prior to that, we tasted a really spectacular lineup of wine. I'm sure, Mira, you'll agree with me that at least 4 of these wines are worth worth the attention, specific attention on very, very specific points. And let's start with the rosé, because for the first time last couple of years, Lakeside Cellar were making their rosé out of Cabernet Sauvignon. Personally, I know that Suan makes a fun Cabernet Sauvignon rosé. And Lakeside was one of the only one that I knew was working 100% Cabernet Sauvignon for their rosé. Enjoyed it. That was bright, that was fresh, but not necessarily my favorite. This year, they came up with something special and something unique, something that we were privileged to be the official Canadian release, because no one else had access to the 100% Saint Saul rosé for the first time, the 2021 vintage of Lakeside. An absolute beauty. Definitely one of my top 5 rosé of the 2021 vintage. Definitely. We talk a lot about the 7 Direction rosé. Daniel Bonterin, the rosé master in Canada, every year always come up on the, if it's not at the top, somewhere at the top. Oracle from Courcelette, like year in and year out, especially the last 2 years, very, very highly sought after. This is right up there with the best rosés in the country. 92 plus that I gave it. And I was, I still been thinking that I should have given it over 93 points, because this rosé, Provence style, really like nice pressed rosé, light with a light little color, the peachy salmon color, an absolute beauty. Mira, tell us your personal reaction and opinion about that rosé.
It's just tasty. So you guys know my scale. Do I like it or not? And it was an instant like, oh, I like this. And it's just so enjoyable. That's the thing. So yeah. And then the thing about wine, when it's good, usually I like it on the first sip, and then I take more and I'm like, as you drink it, the more you drink it, you're like, oh, this is really good. And you get more and more and more out of it with every glass that goes by. Before you know, it's empty. Geez. There are wines that are not like that. That's why it's good to have those once in a while, so I know the difference. There are some wines where you're like, oh, this is interesting, but you don't want more than like a few sips. Well, this was definitely one of those one bottle plus for Mira scale wines. It was good.
Dick, look, rarely we go through a full bottle.
It's true.
I don't drink. I just taste. After a couple glass, we have 3 kids. After a couple glass, we have 3 kids. So you have to stop, right? So this one, completely gone on a weeknight last week where we opened that bottle, and I knew from the first sip that this bottle will not make it through the next day. It's just, and you mentioned it, Mira, and I think it doesn't need a master degrees in enology to explain that wine. And I think you nailed it in your first couple words. It's just enjoyable. You absolutely nailed it. It's just freaking enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a freshness. There's defined aromas, defined flavors, the peach, the strawberry, the little rhubarb cranberry, the bright mouth-watering acidity, but not acidic. No, bright fresh mouth-watering acidity, making you want more. And yeah. There's nothing left in there. Just such a good wine. And this is typical Provence. For people who enjoy buying their rosé of the summer, they like the Whispering Angel, who for me, by the way, it's extremely overpriced. Sacha Leshin makes a great job producing his wine, but it's like horribly overpriced. There's great wines from Provence at a great price point. This are $22. Absolutely crushed it. So I am not afraid to say that it's 100% certainly in my top 5, maybe in my top 3. I haven't, like, there's not a lot. If it's maybe Tractor and Vines and Oracle who come at the slightly above that, but not even sure. This is in the same category. An absolute beauty. And guess what? When we got to the tasting room and we saw that bottle has a big brother, we were like, okay.
Comes in a Magnum, a 1.5 liter.
Yes. And if anyone needs one,
I didn't see any double Magnums, but Magnums. And it's only $50, which is a really good price for a Magnum, I think. It's rare that you find a Magnum under 50 or at 50. So,
but it's just that because the math usually for a Magnum is it's double the quantity, right? So you double the price plus you do a 20.
At least 2.5 the price. Is that what I find?
Nah, this is pushing, but 25% premium fees that they call it. 20 to 30, average it to 25 is the norm. Now we're at 12%. So like really decently priced for a Magnum. And guess what? COVID is behind us. People are going to have people over this summer. That darn Magnum of Rosé of Saint-So, one of the best favorite grape from Provence, this is just too cool. Yeah,
it's a very good wine to open with a small gathering at your house, because 1.5 liters might be 2 bottles, but that's like you got 8 people over. That's perfect. That's all you need. You got your wine for the evening figured out. But so, I've never had Saint-So myself. I had no idea that this is like a very common rosé wine grape in Provence. Mm-hmm. And what would you say, Carl? It's probably one of the only ones in Canada?
Hey?
It's probably one of the only ones in Canada, Saint-So rosé?
100% Saint-So rosé. I don't know. I didn't do specific research on that. But
Well, let me look it up right now. But I've never heard of it, and we've gone through so many rosés, so it's pretty rare to have a Saint Saul rosé.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, like I didn't. I didn't do exhaustive research, but I'm pretty sure that if they're not the only one, there's a very short list of winery who are
Yeah.
producing 100%.
So nothing comes up if you just Google it.
So yeah, so that's for the number one. That's the 92 plus, almost 93 points rosé, $22 Saint Saul rosé. Get to it. That's not gonna last too long. They're releasing to their wine club. I think it's at the end of the week, and after that, people are going crazy on that. It's gonna be nuts. So this second, we are the Portage White. So this wine, Portage White, it's a nice blend of pretty much equal part of Sauvignon Blanc, it's Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, and Pinot Gris, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
you're right.
So equal part of each, or 35, 34, and 32%. Like, let's call it equal part of these three grapes. What I love with that blend, it's the Chardonnay and the Sauvignon Blanc together bring two very distinctive approach. The Sauvignon Blanc, the grapefruit, the freshness, the acid, and on the other side, the Chardonnay with the structure, with the backbone, and you got the peachy Pinot Gris right down the middle, who makes that wine bright and fresh, but also with a nice structure and nice creaminess from the Chardonnay. So an absolute beauty of summer sipper. To me, it was like, it feels like you taste that and you're like, wow, this is built for summer. And again, $19 wine. There's like, it's just screams summer party, approachable. 2020 vintage now. We're in the mid 22. Like, it's just drinking so easily. I'm not the only one to think that. Gold medal that the Lieutenant Governor last year, the BC Lieutenant Governor. Gold medal at the All Canadian as well. So everywhere there was they entered that bottle, it came up at the top.
Yeah.
Extremely well priced. $19. So yeah, patio wine.
And we actually had it. So my niece got married. Congratulations.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
She got married in Mexico, and only a small group of people went to that. And then us with our three kids, we went to the garden party after party, and we brought a case of Lakeside wines, including 4 of these ones. And these ones were the first to go. So yeah, we brought this, the Portage Red, and we brought some bubbly too, because I had to get her to saber some wine. She'd never done it before. So after my success last month sabering my first bottle, I showed her how to do it, and she did it on her first try too. So.
And you know what's funny? Because I brought it with me.
Yeah.
That was Mira's first bottle ever. Look at what's on the look.
That's
which
true.
bottle?
That's the first one I sabered. Yes.
That was a Lakeside.
Yeah.
That was a Lakeside first bottle ever, but that was not like this week. It was like a month ago. That perfect cut here.
Sabering tip though. I got a gash in my finger. Don't grab the bottle. Like, be really careful after, because I grabbed it by the top and I cut myself on the sabered bit. So you have to grab it by the bottom if you.
Yeah. So the family sabering Lakeside is becoming a tradition here. But yeah, Denise did it on the first shot as well. So I guess it's not rocket science, and it's something fun, a good party trick. So that Portage White, love it. $19, gold medal in 2 different national competition. I gave it a 91 plus, almost 91 plus, I believe.
Let's see down below. Let's see.
So yeah. So terrific summer wine. The counterpart for the Portage White, it's the Portage Red. and also a blend of three different grapes here. If you Mira, yeah, it's a Merlot, Cap Franc, Merlot, Cap Sauv. So this one is a little bit split differently at 50% Cap Franc, 30% Merlot, and 20% Cap Sauv. So you imagine you got three big grape varietal grown in Osoyoos and maybe a little bit from the Golden Miles as well, but extremely hot region. So it gives you a rich, bold, well-balanced red blend that is absolutely perfect for barbecue. Absolutely perfect for barbecue. And if you want to make sure that there's enough body on your red blend, because sometimes, you know, some Cab Merlot at the entry level price lack a little bit of depth, lack a little bit of punch. No. This has everything. This has everything. You're not disappointed. It's not like, oh, it's not big enough. I wish I have something bigger. No. That's got everything you want, especially for your ribs on the barbecue. If you want a steak, if you want a pepper steak, or like this is my barbecue best friend, because for $22, and there's a to me there's a major difference between Ontario and BC production. Easier to find a $18 to $22 wine from Ontario than it is from BC. Very rare that you can find a well-priced entry level wine. This is not an entry level wine. This is definitely a mid-tier wine, but priced like an entry level BC wine. Like this, deliver easy, like a $28 wine. Easy, no problem about that. One of the biggest strengths of Lakeside, its price point. And it's weird because when I see great price point, I always look at the production, and you get 1,500 cases, 2,000 cases, 2,500 cases to justify the volume, to justify the lower price point, right? It makes sense. Correct? Yeah. It makes sense.
That's very often why, like when we support these smaller family-run wineries who have small production, we don't expect that they're competing on price. We expect they're competing on the quality, the stories, and the experience of it, you know, more than just the price. Because if we were just trying to compete on price with these wines, I don't know, you'd buy a box wine or something. But with these ones, like my theory is just that these guys were in the game early. They might own the land from a long time ago, and they're able to keep these prices lower than a lot, like the majority of other wines at this quality.
Yeah, because when you look at the productions for Lakeside, you're more between the 175 cases to 300. Yeah. So now I try to rationalize how the heck in the world they come up with that outstanding pricing. So I always scratch my head, like, how is this possible? The only negative point on all that is because their wines are so good and the price are so good, it's when you get at the end of the vintage, you run out.
Yeah.
Like this, like Elaine Bruce, she's a big fan of Cap Franc. Like, wow, like, yes, in this last fall, we featured Lakeside. We had a Cabernet Sauvignon in our offer. We had a Cabernet Franc. Some of our members this week were emailing, hey, can we get more of the Cap Sauv and the Cap Franc? Now, sorry, they're sold out. Email the wineries, like, oh, we don't have any of that left. It's gone. By default, all of the wine is gone, right? So that's the only downfall, because if you don't order enough on the first hand, yeah, there's the risk that you won't be able to reorder these kind of vintage, because it is what it is. Another fact is they hold on to their wine at the wine. They release their wine only when they think that they're ready to drink. It says 2017 vintage. Go around and find me a 5-year-old red blend, $22, who've been aged at the winery for 4 years. There is not a lot. There's not a lot of that out there. So 2017 Portage Red is ready to drink now. It's one of my first notes in my tasting notes. This is ready to go. I'm not saying that you can't age it. This has another 3 years easy of backbone, no problem at all. But this is not the purpose of that wine. The purpose of that wine is to be consumed this summer, this fall, or around Christmas with a bunch of people, because it's $22. It's big, it's bold. There's a great personality. It's juicy. So yeah, and they aged it for you. You don't get something a little young, edgy. No, this is round. This is creamy. This is awesome. I love it.
Fantastic. Yeah, we were really thrilled with that one too. There was actually none in this lineup that we weren't like.
No, exactly, right?
Deal.
Yeah. And now we are also lucky enough to have the first kick at the brand new Pinot Noir.
Yes, so they've never had a Pinot Noir before. I'm pretty sure this is called the Testalinden Vineyard. That's
the 2018 Reserve Pinot Noir, their first time release ever. It's not even on the website yet.
Right.
You know, from the fruits are from Oliver, and let's talk a little bit, because there's some disclosure to make here, and oh, sorry about that. That was a phone call. There's some disclosure to be made about that wine. 2018 from the south of the Okanagan has been known for a smoky vintage. There's certain winery who had produced some wine with some smoke taint, and also there's some wine who has a little bit of smoky aroma, not ashtrays, but maybe some grill. Like, they were definitely around the fire, but to me there's a big difference between smoke taint and I don't want to call it smoke affected, because that's not smoke affected at that point. It's surrounded by the elements. Let's put it that way. There's a difference between being close to the fire, being at proximity of the fire, and be right near the fire.
Yeah, so I think one winemaker recently said, if you're between 300 and 600 meters of the fire, or feet maybe.
No, I think it's a meter.
This is why I'm not a farmer, but it's the proximity. So yeah, if you can see the fire, it's kind of over there and everything's kind of smoky. That's one thing. Maybe the wine will translate to have maybe a slight smoky quality to it, if it happens right when the veraison's happening with the grapes. So it's really a timing thing. But it won't have like a fault. It won't taste like an ashtray. If it's like right next to your vineyard, basically, like you could go walk to it, then it's a problem. Then you're probably not going to make any wine from that vineyard that year. And so with this one, I think that there was smokiness in the vicinity when veraison happened. And they have been very honest with us. And they said, we have been testing this wine every week with lab testing to make sure that there is no indication of taint.
And that's funny enough, because we're tasting the wine first, and because I wanted the Pinot in the lineup, I requested, because it's never been produced before by Lakeside. I'm like, yeah, Pinot from the south, I would love to do that. So pick up the sample, and I'm tasting, and first, my amazing taster partner, aka my wife, aka my business partner, Mira Boucher, is looking at me. She's like, is there not a little bit of smokiness in there? And I look at her and I'm like, holy crap. Wow.
I'm getting better at this. See?
How much did you pick up in the last 18 months? It's absolutely incredible. Because I'm just about to say, you know what? There's that little grill, that little bacon fat. Like if you grilled a cheeseburger There's a little bit of fat falling on the grill and makes a little bit of smoke. You know, that cooking. I think I'm getting a little bit of that, and there's a little bit of dryness in the back end. So I'm like, wow. So contact the winery, and we talked with the winemaker, and they showed us all of the data that, yeah, this wine has no smoke taint, but there's a little bit of a of smoke quality. Let's put it that way. If it's something that you can't stand at all in any shape or form in your wine, there's one thing that we do. We do custom your own pack. Every offer we do custom your own pack. So just don't put it in. There's a little bit of grilled smokiness in there, a little bit of dry tannin at the end. To me, didn't came out unpleasant at all. It's not invasive at all. Like they were mentioning, the number came out 0 smoke taint, but they agreed that there's a little bit of a smoke proximity around the vineyard, and that can be, it's part of that personality of that wine. That's why they decided to release something like 150 cases as the first tryout, and it's pleasant to me. So we needed, as Mira and I, to disclose that, and here we are, right? Pleasant Pinot. I enjoyed it personally.
And we wouldn't have put it in the feature if we had greater concerns than that. That's the thing. So
that's the thing.
We were pretty happy with the way the winery was very transparent about it, and yeah, we're happy with the wine as it stands right now. So yeah, that's what it is. Oh, I have a question here from our VIP group, which is private, so I don't see the names, but I will go in and answer you in a moment.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Who should you email? I'll just take your name down and send you a note after this. No.
Yeah, and we'll yeah, there's no problem at all. We'll let us know when you want to get the wine. Or
until next Wednesday. So yeah, that should be fine. So we'll just check where you are, and we'll make sure it doesn't get shipped to arrive before Wednesday.
There you go. So that's not a problem at all. So let's move on now with the Portage Rare, with the Pinot Noir. We did we already did all of that. So this is time
with a note
to talk about the 2018 Syrah. 2018
oh
Syrah.
My gosh. These Syrahs, we tasted not just the 18, we tasted the 16 and the 17. The 16 was the first they ever made, just like this Pinot was the first Pinot they've made. And oh my gosh, these were fun and delicious.
Yeah, so we tasted the 3 side by side, and when I came with the 18, I'll let Mira tell the story, because when they got their double gold, I looked at it and I sent an email to the winery. I say, I freaking nailed it. I got it.
Sure did.
So yeah, what happened, Mira?
So what happened is we tasted the 16. It was good. We were like, wow, this is good. Okay. And like, one of the first things we got to say here is expectations, right? We didn't know the price point. So we're thrilled about these wines. And then we're tasting through them. And then, of course, the price point comes after as a big hurrah, because holy crap, these wines are under $30. They're like $23.39 for the 18 plus tax, which is super rare for a Syrah in Canada. But anyways, we tasted the 16. It was great. We tasted the 17. Great. Even better than the 16, I would say. Like that one won gold. So we knew it was going to be pretty great. And it was. And then we tasted the 18 and we're like, oh, this is the best one of the 3. This is the best one they made. And I'm pretty sure we're doing an early, like a new release or pre-release?
Yeah, right, it was a new release, but we've never tasted it before. It's never been entered in any competition. So there's no other data for us than you and me tasting together and just putting our own opinion. And right away,
Carl's tasting notes are like, this is probably the Lakeside Cellars best Syrah to date, which is a big deal since the 2017 won gold at the All Canadians. And he goes on to say why it's so great. And then after we start the feature, after we did those tasting notes, just by a few days, we found out they won double gold for this one.
Yeah. So it's just a nice balance. It's so perfumed, eh? There's that beautiful violet perfume. There's
Gorgeous.
that nice black blueberry. There's the cassis, but there's a freshness in that Syrah. It's not.
So this wine is like it's so enjoyable every step of it. And this is something, Carl, you've taught me, because there have been wines where you're like, oh, notice how in this wine there's a little bit missing in the middle. And it's true. Sometimes you feel like, the wine goes like, ooh, exciting, and then it like dips, and then it's exciting again, which is fine. It's just not as enjoyable, right? This wine is consistently exciting throughout, which is so rare for a wine at this price point.
That's the biggest thing. That's the thing that I'm just like can't wrap my head around it in a pleasant way, because how this wine comes up at 24 on just under $24, yes, plus tax, but it's a $28 or $27 tax in. Just went double go. I gave it a 92 plus on the spot, like right after the first sip, without even blinking, and more that we went through the different stage of it. I was like, this is exactly what it is. Like, it's not under 92 plus points. It delivers at every point of the process. And you look at the price point, like, how the fuck in the world, excuse my language, now it just cost me 16 points.
We have one of our kids has a swear jar for Carl now.
So. Yeah. Anyway, so how in the world they can charge that much? It's just so underpriced. But we are not laughing, but I'm just like, wow, this is an absolute.
It's a gem.
Yeah, absolutely. So over deliver at every step of the way. 216 cases. So this came out this week that they just won double gold. That's going to fly off the shelf. People are traveling this summer. It's going to be out by the case at the tasting rooms. There's going to be signs all over the place, double gold. There's nothing who's going to go in the library because they're going to be sell out so quick. So I'm telling you, many members this week who weren't sure, guess what? They order it by the case. And it's such a smart thing to do, because that's not going to be around for a while.
Yeah, this one is a sure bet. And I mean, it's the same. I think we had one or two members saying, okay, tell us more about these 18s and the smoke taint. And like we said about the Pinot Noir, there's a tad of smokiness, not smoke taint on that one. But this, no mention of it. No.
Not only no mention, there's absolutely, the fruits are coming from completely different vineyard though. Mm-hmm. So the Pinot Noir is coming from Oliver, where there was across the road, there was some smoke, I would say probably a kilometer and a half. But the fruits from Osoyoos, this Syrah is as clean as it gets. There's no smoke taint. There's no mention of anything. There's no question mark. Is it a little smoke? Now. The only way you came up with a conclusion that might be smoke taint is just because there's 2018 on the label. And some people will make a big deal of it, as they should if they're very worried about. But you can't overblown that at the level that all of the bottle of 2018 should be smoke taint. No, because the valley was not completely on fire. So
it'll be the same with 2021. There was a lot of fires in 2021. There's two wineries that are not.
Yeah, there's some pocket where they're affected. It's not that there's a couple pockets where they're clean. It's the opposite, right? Yes, there's more chance to get a smoky wine from 18 and 21, but this 2018 Syrah, it's as clean as it gets. It's juicy.
And it's not just us that are saying that. I mean, it's so cool when we get validated by these big awards. I think it happened a couple weeks ago, actually, with a wine we featured previously that we said this is amazing, and it won a lot by Decanter as well. So, I mean, 19 judges at the All Canadians They went through like 1,200 plus wines from almost 200 wineries, and this one came out double gold. So we know this is a pretty special, amazing wine.
Yeah, and no, say 2018, yes, but it's as clean as it gets, and no, there's nothing in there. So yeah, 92 points. Carl's Wine Club, Mira Boucher, a bottle and a half on Mira scales, and 92 plus points. Carl, 92 plus Carl,
Yes,
and double
fantastic.
gold for the All Canadians. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and we
get
did
at it. $24, Syrah. It's on.
23.39.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. And so there was a really cool thing. If you're into Syrah and you're into understanding the vintages, we had an add-on you could get for about $50. And it was the 16 and 17 Syrah. Now that sold out right away, but there are still some 16s left. So if you
Exactly.
missed out on and we're sad about that, you could still get the 16 to see like their first Syrah versus this one, their third, and how they compare. It's pretty interesting and pretty cool to see the vintage variation and also probably some winemaking, changes. Who knows?
Evolution, I would say. It's more of an evolution. There's more refinement on the 18. It's a little bit more rustic on the 16, but there's that same style of it was made in the same mold. Let's put it that way. But there's much more refinement in what we found in the 18. Nice violet, very perfume wine. So yeah. Lucky, but not lucky. I don't believe in luck, but great karma here that they got the double gold right during the offer. So there you go. That's a 2018.
Right. And Leslie's saying that Tidal Bay that we featured as well.
There you go. There you go. That's cool. That's cool.
That's great. We already know these
I need
guys.
to get on their site and review the whole thing. Maybe we should do a post of which wine we have featured this year, or in the lineup for the next couple months. That to look at. Maybe we should review that because we have so much time on our hand right now.
This time last year, we actually had Xavier from the All Canadian Wine Championships. He's on their board, and he came on the show and he told us a little bit about behind the scenes and how they decide things. So that's with all the time we have on our hands, Carl Boucher, we should clip that down to the key points.
Sure. Let's do that tonight.
And then list out all the wines that we featured that won awards.
There you go. Why not, eh?
Yeah, we're not going to do that. But
speaking about the All Canadian Wine Championship, the 2017 Provenier was last year gold medal. So they sent it to the All Canadian and pre-release. It wasn't released yet when they won gold. Now it's on the market. That's a beautiful big Bordeaux bottle. I love these big heavy bottles. So yeah, Provenier, 37% Cab Franc, 33 Merlot, 30 Cab Sauv. A little bit. This is the big daddy of the Portage Red. This is the one who sat in New Oak, American and French. This is the big. This is the bold. This is the Osoyoos Bordeaux blend. Finesse, power, density, richness. Cassis, ripe fruit. This is everything that you want from Osoyoos. 14.6% alcohol. Still well managed, but it's big. It shows well in your glass, and there's some complexity in there. This is a treat. This is their flagship. For a $40 wine, Mira, if I'm not 36.43
plus tax, yeah.
So we're talking $42 wine. But guess what? This is their flagship. Like Nota Bene's at $90 now. Okay, obviously I'm not comparing Lakeside to Black Hills. That's not what I'm doing. But for the top wine of the line of a winery, $42, pretty well priced. So yeah, it's a nice treat here. So this is Lakeside Provenier gold medal. I gave it a it's been a while. 92 points, I believe, last year when I tasted that. Is it 92? It's
Here,
been a
let me
while.
tell you right now.
It's been a while. I'm not exactly
You tasted
sure.
it. I'll tell you. This is how organized we are now, Carl. July 28th of 2021, and you gave it 91 points with a potential for 93 points after 3 to 5 years of cellaring.
There
So
you
now we're
go.
at 2 to 4 years of cellaring.
Okay, so I said 92, so I was pretty bang on, I guess. 91 to 93. That was an open score because we got it on pre-release, so there was some potential for evolution and potential for improvement in what I've tasted, but with lots of potential. So yeah, this is the Provenir, their flagship wine. So so yeah, that's the lineup. We also have in bonus point. You get the in bonus. We have the Magnum of the Rosé. So outstanding. Such an amazing feature. So creative in the sense that there's a Magnum of Rosé. There was 3 Syrah, not only 2 available, and the most recent double gold. So get at it. It's going until tomorrow night. So yeah.
Yes, amazing stuff. Hey, I want to take a minute. So Michelle's just, I have to say, she cracked a 2012 Black Hills Syrah, which is awesome, Michelle.
12 Syrah.
I want to know what that was like because they haven't made Syrah as long as they've made the Nota Bene, right? So
wow, 12 Syrah, eh?
Yeah, from Black Hills. That's cool. That'd be cool to see how that evolved. But hey, I want to take a minute and talk about what is happening next week because as of Sunday morning, we are getting a ride to the airport and we are gone for like 12 days to Niagara and Toronto. And we are so freaking excited. Personally, I have never visited wineries in Niagara. I've just been to Niagara Falls. This guy has only visited wineries and has never been to, this guy has never actually been to Niagara Falls. So we get to experience both as we're down there. And some of y'all are going to be visiting with us at Bellaterra for the members party. And the day before, we're touring 5 stops together throughout Niagara. So this
absolutely. And now let's get to the thick of things. There's still 9 spots available for our vertical and barrel private tasting that we're going to do on the 24th in the afternoon, led by Fred DiProfrio, the winemaker, and Lou Puglisi, the owner. So we're going to do a very exclusive Cap Franc vertical tasting and barrel and barrel tasting. So a mix of old library and barrel. So that's going to be super unique. And after that, Lou's going to take us on a vineyard tour. He's going to explain to us the progression of his vineyard in the last 25 years. And so it's going to be extremely unique. 9 spots available. So
it was sold out. And I know some people who registered, I still have to email a few people, might have been disappointed that it was sold out. So what we're doing is we're reshuffling the tables and adding 9 more spots.
Yeah. So we just had decided to do it at a different spot. Instead of doing it in the tasting room, we're going to do it in the barrel room. So by bringing everyone in the barrel room, and there's a little bit more room there. So yeah, so now that we have a little bit more space, and there's still ticket available for the main event, where it's what, $69?
$69.95 plus tax. Yeah.
So I would have done it $69.96, but it's just me. But anyway, we can talk about it later. There's still, so taco bar. It's going to be Black Market Wines. We're going to do a guided tasting with Rob Amersley and Michelle, who are flying out to Niagara to party with us at Bellaterra. So Black Market is flying to Bellaterra. So we're going to do that, and we're going to
these guys. I mean, this is what we did in BC just, I don't know, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. We had Next to me here is Rob Hammersley, who's the winemaker at Black Market in BC.
Winemaker and owner.
And then next to Carl there is Fred DePropio, who's the winemaker at Bella Terra in Ontario. And they flew out to BC to be at the BC event. And then Rob and his wife, Michelle, co-owners at Black Market, are flying out to Ontario to be at the Ontario event. It's pretty cool.
That is really cool. And
then in BC, I mean, we had a blast. This was the vertical tasting. This was Carl smelling wines at the vertical tasting. I don't have a picture of the pig, but we roasted a pig on a spit with a chef. It was incredible.
Yeah. So, and you know what? Just a little sneak peek here. We're gonna have I heard that there's gonna be some nothing to declare ancestral method Cabernet Franc sparkling Black Market to be tasted there. I've heard through the grapevine that get it? I heard through the grapevine there's going to be some Pinot Blanc, brand new release that Carl and Mira has harvested and helped bottled to be tasted there as well. And I've heard through the grapevine that, there's a grape in Ontario that is not as successful as it is in the Okanagan. It's the Syrah. I'm not saying that there's no good Syrah from Ontario. That's not what I'm saying at all. I came across some absolute gem. But there's much more Syrah in the Okanagan, and there's that specific terroir of the south of the Okanagan who absolutely suit the Syrah. I heard that there's going to be some Black Market Syrah to be tasted at the event at Bella Terra. On the other end, Bella Terra is going to crack open some of their Cabernet Sauvignon, some of their Cabernet Franc, some of their Chardonnay, the new 2018 Chardonnay from Bella Terra. It's absolutely freaking kick-ass. It turned heads at the Black Market tasting. It was like, whoa, what is that? So that I believe that some of these Chardonnay is going to be available. So there's a bunch of activities that we're planning, maybe some sabering, some fun pictures. So come and party with us. I think there's something like 60 tickets sold already.
For those of you that don't know what sabering is, I had my first sabering attempt and I managed to do it a little while ago. Here's Carl.
You ruined the knife.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It's already ruined. It's all good.
Woo! Hey, leave some wine in the bottle.
So that was us on our porch right here, like right there, with the Bella Terra crew in BC. And now we're heading out to Niagara. So cool.
Sunday morning, we're going to be on the plane. Yeah. So that's the party on June 24th. I know that there's some special guests. There's some members, excited members, enthusiastic members from Quebec who are driving all the way from Quebec City to Niagara for a couple of days to party with us. So it's going to be unique. On the 23rd, the day before, we have a little crew that we're going to go around, and we have a few stop planned, like lunch at 13th Street Winery and a little meeting with Jean-Pierre Collard. We're going to go meet with that. I'm very excited. We're going to meet Brian Schmid at Vineland Estate. We're going to go see the Barrel Room at Vineland. Is one of the very unique place in the country. So I'm extremely looking forward to a conversation with Brian, who to me is one of the most knowledgeable wine person in the country. So the people who are going to be with us are going to have the chance to meet Brian in person. Born in BC, made his first wine at 12 years old with Crystal McWater. So like there's a Canadian connection here. I can't wait to meet him in person. So anyway, so we're going to be at Vineland. Just after, we're going to drive to meet finally in person with Sue-Ann staff. Sue-Ann and us, like we've been doing lots of stuff with Sue-Ann. She has such a great personality. She's going to cook for us our very famous grilled cheese, right? Did you really convince Sue-Ann to make grilled cheese in the middle of the afternoon with Carl's Wine Club's member?
And I think she's like traveling that morning, so she'll be like fresh off the plane, and she's gonna come make some grilled cheese for us. She is outstandingly ridiculous.
You really convinced her to do that. I thought you were just like joking. She's gonna do it for
She's
real.
out of this world awesome. That's how awesome she is. Yeah. So I mean, in BC, what did we do? This was BC. We tasted fresh made cheese with wines, and in Ontario, we are gonna be tasting Sue-Ann's famous grilled cheese that she's gonna make with her wines that she's made. So this is pretty special stuff. Like, this is the kind of experience you cannot get normally. It's because
After that, we're gonna go hit Westcott. There's a new release. On deck at Westcott. So some new shards, some new Pinots that I cannot wait to try. A couple of rosés. I can't wait to try the new version of the Riesling. Remember, their first release last year was outstanding for an amazing price. I can wait to see what's the Cap Franc doing now. They have a new Cap Franc as well. So some cool stuff with Westcott. We're going to visit with Carolyn and Grant at the end of the afternoon. And our party on the 23rd will end at Hillfire. Hillfire bottle shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a new bottle shop where they feature local wines. So they have over 75 wineries at the bottle shop that you can buy a bottle. It's not restaurant pricing on these bottles. It's more like winery direct.
Yeah. Winery direct plus a little markup, but really little. So they make their fresh bread in the house, baked fresh good in the house. Sandwiches anyway, so we're gonna end up the day there having a blast with Marcel and his team at Hillfire Bottle Shop. So I can't so that's our day on the 23rd.
Yeah. Epic day, and then followed by an epic evening with members in the vineyard. So we can't wait, you guys. We're so excited. Yeah. And then I think next Wednesday there is a chance next Wednesday, because we're going to be featuring a winery that we happen to be at next Friday night for the members event. A very special winery. Here, I'll do the fanfare here. A winery that members voted #1 for Ontario for the wineries we discovered last year. And so we might actually be on site for Wine Wednesday next week, which will be really
I think it would make sense. We're hosting our members party there on Friday. For them to be the feature of the week kind of make complete sense, right?
Yeah.
And so to host Wine Wednesday, why would we do that from our house in Niagara, our rental, when we can just go to the pond and
sit by the pond and see you guys there?
I think it kind of makes sense to me. So there's a good chance that Marcel pops his head in the camera and say hi. And yeah, we're gonna have some. I might request to taste a little bit of the Appassimento, their new Appassimento, during Wine Wednesday next week. Maybe that can be an option. We'll see.
We'll see. That would be very special.
Let's see. It
will still be good on the Friday for the members event, because
absolutely, yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's what I've learned for Appassimento. It is so special, and it lasts. Like, we had one after 4 days, and it was still great. And we had left the cork off for 4 days.
Yeah.
So yeah. Something else.
It's Wine Wednesday. It's 6 o'clock. It's 5 minutes after 6 here, Western time, Pacific. So I think it's going to be time to go start packing. At some point, we need to get ready for that darn flight on Sunday morning.
Yes, we do. We need to find our paperwork, our passports, all that stuff. So great to see you guys. I hope we can see some of you next Thursday and Friday in Niagara. And if not, I'm sure we'll catch you another time soon.
But stay tuned for highlights. Just like when we had the Bellator crew here in BC, we're going to post throughout the week about our adventures. our mishap, some fun stuff, and yeah, follow our trips on our VIP channel. It's going to be fun. There's going to be some YouTube video being posted at some point as well. And Daryl, if I don't see you next week in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to be so freaking pissed. I better. And if it takes me to drive to your neighborhood just to go say hi in person for 2 minutes, I think I'll do it. Okay? We've been texting, emailing, Facebooking, messengering, all of the above, all together for long enough that if I don't meet you in person, I'll be pissed. So
Yeah, we have to figure something out. Maybe we have to go to where you are, Daryl.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, thanks for joining us. This is Lakeside Cellars Week with a freshly off the press result of a double gold for the 2018 Syrah, right in the pack. Also a gold medal for the 2017 Provenir, a two-time gold medal for the 2020 Portage White. So a pack filled with award-winning wines, small amount produced in every of these bottles. Cinsault of rosé, freshly released. Also magnums available. So these wines are available until tomorrow night.
Lots of good stuff. So I'm going to put the link here. I think most of you guys that stopped by have already ordered. But if you were curious or if you just want to even look at the tasting notes, here is the link. And you can check it out. And thanks for joining us in this wine discovery. It's been fun. Learning more about Lakeside and tasting their wines has been the most fun part of all, I would say.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher, cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
You guys have a good evening. We'll chat with you next time.